think it's really just the action of this. So like this thing going as he comes by, just putting the cartridge in.
Colin had very specific ideas. So we exchanged ideas, and then we started working on designing all the various things that make this movie believable. The biggest challenge for us, other than the obvious things of creating fantasy props that don't really exist, was to sell the notion that we're in a real theme park. So we had to manufacture dinosaur-themed strollers, dinosaur-themed cups. They existed at one point when the first film came out, but they all said Jurassic Park, so we had to resculpt them, manufacture them in-house, and we had a lot of corporate partners who helped us add authenticity to the whole thing, Coca-Cola being one of them, and so we made these cups as well. Another one of our partners, Hasbro, provided us with a Jurassic World branded prototype of toys with the proper packaging. We see these items in the hands of actors and extras throughout the film, along with the park map. That's the brochure, and it tells you where you're going and what attractions you have, where your hotel is located, and you have a lot of information. We try to be as detailed as possible. And then, of course, the park is staffed by employees who have to look the part. And we manufactured this custom security shield that our security guards are wearing. And when we visited Universal Studios in Hollywood, we noticed that every employee at the studio, at the theme park, has on their name tag their favorite film. So we did our own with your favorite dinosaur. So every staff member of the park has a little name tag with their favorite dinosaur on it. And so things like these, which you find at all the big theme parks, to me is what sells the fact that you're in this amazing place.
What is that?
That's her tracking implant. She clawed it out.
Another aspect of the film is the fantasy part. All the animals are carrying a beacon so they can be tracked throughout the park, what we call our assets, our animals. This particular piece of flesh belongs to the Indominus Rex, and this is what our asset containment unit team finds on a riverbed.
This is what we're serving at catering for dino steaks, triceratops chops.
And there's a say in props, if you have one, you have none, so we always make 2 of everything. At least 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 36. It depends on what the prop will be involved in terms of action. For example, we find this tooth embedded into one of our gyrospheres, and so we made 2. And then, of course, Legacy made 3 different eggs for our lab. This, I believe, is the Apatosaurus eggs. We keep track of our eggs with a QR code that is scanned and entered in a database, so each animal that's about to hatch has its own ID number. This is a Velociraptor egg, which is reminiscent of the one you saw hatch in the first film. And I don't know what that is. It's a dinosaur egg. This is actually from the very first film, the last surviving pair of night vision goggles that were standard issue in the Jeep Cherokees that were part of the park tour. So we refurbished them. We had to age them, non-permanently, because they're a loan from Universal Pictures Archives. I have to return them in as good or better condition than they loaned them to me. And so we did a quick non-permanent age to them to show that they're 20 years old, and miraculously, they still work.
Early in the film, I said, wouldn't it be nice if we kind of saw some kind of tie-in to the original characters on the film, since they're not in this movie at all? And so we ended up coming up with God Creates Dinosaurs, which was a nod to what Ian Malcolm said in the first movie.
God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs.
So we created a fake book jacket. So while it's not necessarily featured, it's something that we hope that the audience would kind of see on the big screen and just pop out and be like a little nod to an homage to the earlier films.
Ready, and action!
Another aspect of the prop department duties is anything having to do with weapons of any kind, including real firearms.
My favorite prop in this film is probably Owen's rifle. It just really encompasses his character. It's very manly and, you know, He's kind of course, he's the hero of the show, so you want to give him a really great way to protect everyone in the park.
For Owen, we used a Marlin 4570 lever-action rifle, which we had one of our armors modify slightly and add a nice little scope to it. The interesting thing with any of these action props is we always make rubber doubles. This is quite heavy to carry all day, so for the comfort of the actors, or in the event of a stunt, we don't want the actor falling with a heavy chunk of steel on their back, so we make these rubber copies.
This gun is made of rubber.
Another good example of this is the character of Barry carries a Smith & Wesson 500, and this is the real one. And so for a lot of the scenes, we gave him a rubber double, which was easier and safer to carry. And in most cases, they're indistinguishable unless you put your hand on it. One of the most fun challenges on this movie was to create the fantasy weapons that the asset containment team is using in the park. The first one we created was the taser spear. The idea is to pierce the skin and zap it. So that's the thing. So I don't know if they'll have you mimic that, but that's, you know, then you have to worry about these handles getting in the way of your hands. For more dangerous dinosaurs, we made a taser rifle. This works much like a regular police taser with cartridges. And then when you power it up, it has a little laser beam so that you can aim at the animal. And then to give a little reference to our VFX friends, we always add a little strobe. That's a single-shot dart gun right here. These guys have 10 rounds, and they're semi-automatic. There is no such thing as a multiple-shot tranquilizer dart gun. So we designed this from scratch entirely. And then with any action prop, in order to sell that it's the real thing, we had to have some movement. So every time you squeeze the trigger, this mechanism is powered by a nitrogen cartridge, which gives us about 200 shots. And so that gave us a very dynamic, very heroic-looking weapon, and yet completely fake. It doesn't exist. We invented this.
Two-headed snake right there.
Two-headed snake. Freaky. One's pissed off in that direction and one's pissed off in this direction.
The prop master is also in charge of hiring some animal wranglers depending on the size of the project.
That one, I like that one.
Yeah.
Take a shot of that, Jason. There, go. Back.
That's the veiled chameleon, yeah.
When we're talking about small animals in cages, like snakes and lizards, it's often our responsibility to deal with that. So we brought in Jules Sylvester, a herpetologist and a snake wrangler, and so he's an expert at all this. So we brought him in to liven up the lab a little bit.
Hey, babe. What do you think? You know, that's exactly what it is. That's a big old male.
We have aquariums full of nasty creatures. Some really good stuff. Frogs, snakes, lizards. What else do we have? Axolotls. I bet you don't know what that is.
What is that?
It's like a salamander with the gills on the outside. It's a very, very primitive beast. And they're white, they're cave dwellers, and they look weird, so it's great for this stuff.
So this level of humidity, is it good? Is
Actually,
this a good level down here?
This is a lovely
environment for them?
If I was a snake, I'd live here. Freaky. That's
These don't have labels on them, right?
Yeah, they
don't
do.
have labels, or they do? Okay, they're those.
So put the last one in,
Looks good.
like this. It was very neat when I got the call to come do this. It was really a great opportunity, and whenever you do something like this that is known the world over, there's also a little bit of fear involved in it, and so the whole challenge was really great.